What's up, everybody? Wellness Week Live. I'm your host, DJ Anthony, here in Jersey. How you doing? Today's show, why is the Joe Rogan podcast so good? I think, look, and this is, I think, has to do with wellness, actually, too, because, a lot of what Joe speaks about and what Joe is about is exercise and nutrition and healthy lifestyle. And his show weaves that in, too. Not every show episode he does is about health and wellness, but um, it is something that is prevalent in his podcast and what he presents. Let me just, by the way, I think the light is too bright here. Hold on. Oh, even brighter. Anybody care? No. All right, perfect. So, but if you're a podcaster like I am, and so many millions of other people around the world are, Joe Rogan is like, you look up to Joe because you want Joe's number one, the number one podcast, period. And so, but why is Joe Rogan, why is this podcast so good? And whether you like him or not, numbers don't lie. He's number one, period. End of discussion. So why? Why is he number one? And I think it's pretty simple, actually. I think for starters, let's just talk about this. Joe Rogan didn't just wake up and do this podcast and now he's number one, making tens of millions, $100 million. Joe was on this thing, his podcast for, well, now going on, 2009 he started it, so it's going to be 2025. So he's going 15 years plus. He didn't just wake up and start a podcast, folks. So he put in the what they call 10,000 hour rule. He put in his time, and doing a little research, most podcasts, if they're serious, fold up after 6 years. So Joe's going on 16. So there's no wonder why, there's an old saying, 80% of life success, just show up, show up, show up, show up. And if you want to pack up after 6 years, that's fine. But, long you hang in there, the odds exponentially rise that you'll be successful, no matter what your podcast is about. But anyway, so that's one of Joe's secrets. The other thing is, and actually, millions and millions of podcasts fold up after 1 month, 3 shows, never mind 6 years. So the point is, hang in there. You do it because you love it, and just don't stop. And then that's not to say that that's the only secret to Joe's success, but that's a secret. You got to be in it to win it. The other thing is that Joe's relatable. He comes across, and I'm sure he is. You feel like, hey, he's the guy next door. He's my buddy from high school. Like he's very everyday manish. Even though he's got a ton of money and he's famous, there's still, you get that sense that, well, I could talk to this guy. Like I'm listening in to him just talking. He's like one of your pals. He's very easy on the ear, and he's not pontificating. He's not condescending. He's not talking down to you. He has a Bob Ross, Mr. Rogers quality. I'm not saying he's those guys, but he has a tinge of that in how he talks and how he presents. And that is another secret to his sauce. And I don't even think Joe's trying to do this. It's just, he is who he is, which is the next point. He's sincere. He is who he is. He's not trying to be someone or something else. He's not putting on a show, even though it is a show. That's the irony of it. He is who he is. He's sincere. It's authentic. And in this day and age, authenticity is hard to find, where everyone's trying to be something they're not, or be scripted, but they're not scripted, but they are scripted, but they're not scripted. Joe is it's just Joe. Here it is, take it or leave it. The other thing is, he comes across, again, like a nice guy. And anybody that knows him, you never hear shit bad about this guy. And trust me, I'm sure the media would love to roast his ass and find out something that he jaywalked or something. So, he seems to be a nice guy, and he's a family guy. He's married. He's got kids. Like, that's another thing that, again, doesn't make or break him. But, he's that everyday kind of persona that, or personality that he is. He can relate to so many people just because his story. I would also say he kicks ass. He'll fuck you up, so that's the other cool thing about Joe, is just like, he's nice, but there's a side of him like, you want to play? Like, not to fuck with Joe, but that's what's so cool about him. You would, if you didn't know him, you'd be like, he's just some nice kind of everyday guy, kind of funny, goofy, inquisitive, but, he could kill you, literally. He's got a bunch of black belts and all sorts of stuff. The other thing I would say is, he's manly, but he's soft. But he's manly, but he's soft. Like, he's got that soft side, but he's also manly, and he's you can make the argument he's conservative, but he's liberal, but he's conservative, but he's got that Johnny Carson also way about him where you don't really know where he stands on. I get it. We all kind of know where he might lean, but he also leans that way and he leans this way. It's just Joe's Joe, and a lot of he's got common sense, which is another one. In this day and age, common sense ain't so common. So the other thing is common sense. Yeah, Joe's got that common sense about him, that almost kind of like street savvy to him, but not so street that he's unrelatable. Again, very relatable. I would say he's smart. He's smart without being intellectual, without condescending, without talking in superlatives and word salads. He doesn't do that, but he's not dumb. So that's kind of cool too. He's humble. That's another big one. He's sincere. He's curious. And he asks the questions that maybe we would want to ask, but we feel stupid for asking. Oh shit, Joe just asked that question. His show is a conversation. It's not an interview. He's not trying to zing anyone. He's not trying to fact check anyone. It's just, again, you and your buddy talking. You're not going to fact check your buddies. You're just talking. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you exaggerate. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're on the money. Maybe you're not. Whatever. Just a conversation, And that's what's really kind of cool. It's easy going. This is not the reason why people watch him, but his studio is nice. I mean, if you're going to watch, right, that ancillary effect, that background is nice. I mean, the studio is soft to the eye. It's not something that is glaring or something that you don't want to really kind of look at. It's woods and reds like this in the back and earthy colors. So that's kind of cool. Kind of invites you in. Joe's got a decent voice. He's easy to hear. He's easy to watch. He's not that you're watching him for this, but he's not like, he doesn't have pizza face. He's not disgusting. It's not hard to look at him, and so he has a presentation about him, that is visually pleasing, audibly pleasing. What else? I would say that, and Joe talks softly overall. He's not yelling like some announcers or interviewers or shows. He has a lot of interesting guests too. And that's the other half of this equation. You have to have interesting guests. I'm not saying they have to be famous guests, but he'll have everyone on, from physicists to models to ex-drug addicts to whatever, mechanics, whatever it is, doctors, lawyers, famous people, not famous people, like a lot of interesting eclectic guests, which is half of the puzzle. The other half is you have to be able to have an engaging conversation with them, and Joe does that. Joe brings that, which is very impressive. And I try to be like that. I try to be like Joe Rogan. I even shave my head. What else? He bucks the trend too, because if you have a YouTube channel, it's always, if you look into it, they say that you shouldn't have anything longer than a 3-minute video on YouTube. The shorter the video, the more apt people are to watch you and hear you. Well, Joe talks for hours. Now, I'm not saying everybody watches and listens to every minute of him, but he bucks the trend in that respect. It's not a fast-paced format. It's a slow format. It's a percolating format, and that's rare. That a format like that would do well. If you look at the top 10 most popular YouTube channels, aside from Joe Rogan, they're all entertainment based. They're singing, they're goofing around, they're doing stupid challenges. They're music video channels. These are the top 10. So Joe, to be number one, beating out those other 9, is rare. It's a feat for sure. What else? I think that Joe, again, going back to the 15 years. I mean, he's don't forget when he first started, nobody was watching the Joe Rogan Experience. Again, he put his time in, and he'll tell you, he, in the beginning, he interviewed friends and stuff, and then slowly it grew and grew and grew. But that's the age we live in. Nobody wants to put in 15 years to anything, much less a YouTube channel. So he did this from out of his own curiosity and enjoyment, and it shows. And that is why Joe Rogan is numero uno, the best podcaster out there. Whether you like him or not, that's how and why it works. And if us YouTubers out there can, peel away some of that magic that he's got, it'll help us go a long way also. So that is why the Joe Rogan podcast is so good. Tell me what you think in the comment sections below. Why do you think it's good? And I love the shows he has. Like I said, I love his eclecticness. I love when he has like physicists on, and he'll have like black belt and judos on, and then he'll have like, whatever. He'll have everyday people on, people who are marathoners or Navy SEALs or whatever, supermodels. Like he really, yeah, he's just like he has an innocence almost to him also. So anyways, that's it, folks. Thank you very much. Hey, Joe, if you're watching, keep up the good work with that, buddy. All right, I'm out of here. DJ Tony. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm out of here. Bye.